Hello, welcome to A VO's Journey. My name is Anthony. This show is about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business, sidestep all the crazy things that this guy seems to step on. Today, we are going to be talking about scams and how you can avoid them. And we get scammed a lot. Let's be honest. It does personally amaze me how many, I think, challenges we face working online and how many people are trying to pull one over on us and scam us. So I want to talk about that and how you can identify scams, but also to be aware that sometimes it's also people who just don't know what they're doing. All right. And I have situations where, that's happened to me where I've had someone who, looked like they were, because they it felt somewhat like a scam. And, then they would, like through a platform, then they'd get their account banned, they'd come back. And then it turned out to be a massive deal that was for a humongous brands and stuff, and it was the person just had never worked on the platform before, and it seemed like a scam, but it wasn't. And I think that this happens a lot, so I want to chat about that real quick. As always, the best thing that you can do always is education. We know this. There's no field that you will ever go in, right, that you not need education. And please don't think that voiceover is something that you could just do without being educated. It's very important to get that education. Check out VO Journey Academy. It's only $10 to try us out to get started. So it's a great deal. Go over to vojourney.com and give us a shot there. You'll love it. The community, the family, the classes, everything. It's really worth it. So let's get on to this idea about what, how can we identify while we're running our business that someone has messaged us and, asking us for voiceover. How do we know if it's a scam or not? Okay. So I think there's a couple identifying attributes that you can look as a scam. Like, for example, I used to work at a bank, and people would come in all the time, and they literally, and typically, unfortunately, it was older people, but they would say, hey, I've won the lottery in another country. I just need to send them, like a check for $4,000 so that they can exchange the currency rate, so they can send us the money. I would always ask, did you sign up for a for a lottery? Did you enter one? Did you do anything to receive this? And sometimes people were so adamant that they had won because they wanted to believe it so much, right, that it would cloud their intuition, their logic. So I think the first thing is to, don't let the excitement of possibly getting a job cloud your judgment. Okay. Especially when you're first starting, you're so excited to get work that it's very easy to cloud your judgment. Okay. So remember that. That's the first thing. Stay objective. Second thing is, oftentimes when you'll receive these things and they're really too good to be true. One very popular scam is people trying to hire you, right, to do a certain amount of hours a week. Okay. Now there is a very, trendy thing that's been going on for quite a while, and that's hiring voice actors to do YouTube channels. And a lot of times they will ask, voice actors to do X amount of videos a week. You know what I mean? And that's pretty common. But I'm talking about the messages we get where they're asking voice actors, hey, I'll hire you for 8 hours a week. You know what I mean? And we'll pay X amount of money per hour. That's a very famous type of scam. No one does that. That's not how we do voice. That's not how we run a voiceover business. Okay. And that's a very popular thing. I always find that if you are confused whether something is a scam or not, ask questions. Ask more questions and have a process that you use to make sure that they follow that process. Does that make sense? And do things that you do and that you don't do. And as long as you stick to that, A lot of time when people try to work outside of that, you can simply say no or no, thank you. All right. But use your intuition. So I think another way to identify a scam is, again, if people are asking you for stuff, and I don't mean like an audition, although that can feel weird, but I mean asking you for, to go and put in information somewhere. You never need to give people your information for that. I mean, because you can just send them an invoice. Now, there's always a situation where you're going to work with a big company or something like that, and they have to get you onto, something where, you have to sign, like you have to give them information, for them to pay you. But, I'm talking about the people who are sending you spam emails or messaging you through platforms, asking you for random one-off information about yourself or, your address or where you live. They don't need that kind of stuff ever, especially through platforms. Also, when you're on platforms, if somebody's trying to get you off that platform, okay, in an ideal world, we'd all have our private clients, which is the most ideal situation for us, and we don't have to go through platforms or anything. And that's great. And we all want to work towards that. However, when you're on a platform, it protects you a lot too, because when you go off that platform, all the things that are on there, that are there to protect you are gone, and you don't know what they're doing. And oftentimes too, the platforms do not want you to leave, and you can get a lot of trouble with the platforms that you're on, when you go off the platform, because they've spent a lot of money to curate those potential customers. So just stay on platforms if that's where the business comes to you. Okay. Now, if they find you off of the platform on their own, right, and they want to work with you that way, that's another story. That's fine. They did the work to find you, but don't you go through the platform and say, hey, let's work off the platform. Okay. That'll get you in a lot of trouble. I find that, and this is, sometimes it's not like this, but things that seem overly ambiguous, right? And want things from you. That's another sign. One thing that I notice comes up a lot is, do you do auditions for people, you know what I mean, without them paying you? And especially on platforms or things like that. And, I've always gone back and forth about this many times. Sometimes I'm in the mood to not do an audition for people because it just rubs me the right way. So I tell them you have to pay me. Other times I'm like, of course, yeah, I'll do something for you, depending on what I think the project is. So, it's very important. One of the biggest jobs I've received, in the last year or two or whatever, was when I did, the season for the Minnesota Vikings, all the videos in the stadium. And that was last year or the year before last, excuse me. And not last football season, but the football season before last. And it came, I thought it was a scam. Because the gentleman who was doing it, he was in charge of their marketing department at the Vikings, had no idea how to work through the platform. He got his account banned, came back under another account. And, but he had given me his name and stuff, and I had looked him up, and I had done some due diligence. And that's another tip, do some research, you know what I mean, if you're not certain on these people. And he seemed to check out. So I was like, oh, well, okay. So I don't risk much doing an audition. And, I did, and I, I got an incredible job, incredible, long-term job for the football season 2023. So, that was, but again, I thought it was a scam. So, make sure you do due diligence when you are confused or you don't know if something is a scam or not, right? Do everything you can. It's okay to ask questions yourself, right? And I always, whenever I am concerned, I'll always try to take payment up front. Because one thing scam artists will never do is pay you first. But I mean, at all, they'll never pay you. So, that's something that, is a clear sign that they are not a scam artist if they pay you. But if they won't pay you, you know what I mean? Now, some people will insist that they pay you at the end of the project. And that's normal too, because we're in technically in a service industry per se. I don't agree with that 100%, but, we are. So a lot of, since I can remember, services were always, you render a service first and then you're paid after that service is rendered, which is funny because it's not like we go to Walmart and get a gallon of milk and drink the milk and then pay them. right? It's just not, but anyways, the point here is that, use your intuition. And if they're not going to give you, if they're not going to pay you up front and you feel like this doesn't seem right, don't do the job. There's plenty of more out there. And that's my last tip for you. There's plenty of work out there, even though maybe when you're first starting, it doesn't feel like that because you're not dialed in yet. But there is so much work available. And don't let anybody tell you there's not work. Don't let anybody tell you AI is taking all the work. It's baloney. There's plenty of work out there all over the world for us. Okay. So don't feel like when I was early on, every job that came my way, I was scared half to death. It would, secretly I was scared half to death that it would be the last job, I'd ever get a chance to do. So I got to get it. And there's nothing wrong with a sense of urgency to get work, but I promise you, there's plenty of work out there. Okay, for all of us. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Put this would be a really interesting exercise. Put some comments below on scams that you've seen, or that you've sidestepped, or unfortunately maybe that you got taken up in. Okay, yeah, put those below. I'd love to hear them, and it would probably be a big help to the community. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, again, check out VO Journey Academy. Education is an incredible way to, not fall down that rabbit hole as well. The more you know, the more you're in a community who can warn you, because that's the cool thing about our community, right, is that we have a whole entire area dedicated to scam awareness, basically, like we're always putting, what's the latest scam we found, watch out here, watch out there. I think it's really beneficial for our community. So check us out, vojourney.com. Thank you guys so much. You have a wonderful Thursday. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.